I just got through watching Joe Biden lose his mind on CNN. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Okay, so I was just watching CNN, and apparently Joe Biden is losing it because Donald Trump on a phone call urged the president of the Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden's son Hunter on his dealings in the Ukraine. Of course, now Joe Biden wants Donald Trump investigated, which might happen, but nothing's going to come of it either way. I don't think anything's going to come of it on the Joe Biden side. I don't think anything's going to come of it on the Donald Trump side. But what I think Donald Trump has done a very good job of doing in this particular instance is making Joe Biden look like what he is. Like, this is something that a lot of us are used to seeing when you see an old white man who has not been used to being called into question get called into question. They get angry on a different level. And the only person that can usually bring that reaction out of them is another old, powerful white man. So Donald Trump used his powerful white manness to call Joe Biden's powerful white manness into question, and his son. And now Joe Biden is like, it's an abuse of power, and they're smearing my family. And it's like, there's just a better way that could have been handled. Like, yeah, of course you're going to be upset about that because they're questioning your son's dealings, and they're also calling your reputation into question. So I can see how Joe Biden would be upset, but I think he should have taken a minute. I think he should have paused a little bit, and I think he should have been a lot more diplomatic in the way that he dealt with it as far as the press went. Because if you saw the actual interview or where they were asking him about it, he was like pointing in the guy's face like that and saying, you need to be asking Donald Trump these questions. And it's like, okay, but you're just seeming like what it is you are, which is a powerful man that's not used to being called into question. And a lot of people are starting to turn on that kind of thinking, and that's on both sides, where it's kind of like people think they're above any kind of questioning at all. It's like, if I were Joe Biden, I would have said something like, well, this is what happens when you decide you want to be president. People are going to call everything into question. So do I think it's out of line? Yes. At the same time, am I going to make a big deal of it right now with you? No. There are proper channels that we can go through to figure out whether or not this was ethical, which apparently it's not. I mean, like, there's just a better way to handle than to get incensed about it. And if you're already this riled up this early, I don't think you're going to be good for being president. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to end up seeing in this. And, you know, Elizabeth Warren is kind of sitting pretty right now and just waiting for something to go wrong with Biden, I'm sure. And so she's probably at home right now kind of like, yes, yes, yes. But, you know, I could be wrong. I know nothing. Do I look like George Stephanopoulos? I can't even say his name. So I'm not trying to act like I'm the big political expert. But I do tend to be kind of good at predicting the way these things are going to play out, because I'm really good at getting into the minds of the social justice warriors and kind of... There's a lot of people that think I completely hate those people, and I don't completely hate them. I think they're a bit misguided. But at the same time, I can see where they're coming from in a lot of cases. So it's easy for me to put myself into their mind and be like, okay, this is the way this is going to read to them. And I think that that's what's going to happen. And then, you know, the people that are already on Trump's side, like, CNN is trying to push like this, like, you know, how unethical it is and stuff like that. But to the people that are already on Trump's side, it just looks like it's just going to be another attack on Donald Trump, when all Donald Trump is trying to do is get to the bottom of this. And if it's okay for them to wonder what's going on with Trump and the Russians, then it's okay for Trump to wonder what's going on with Biden and Ukrainians. And so I don't really see this as playing out in Joe Biden's favor or on the favor of the left. And I know, because I'm saying this and because I have this opinion, there are going to be certain people that are going to be like, well, you voted for Donald Trump, you're still on his side. No, I've been honest about the fact that my vote is completely up for grabs. Do I think Donald Trump is fun to watch? Yes, I do. Am I supposed to admit that? Never, ever, ever. Because I'm supposed to act like I'm going through so many emotions right now just because Donald Trump, I can't believe. But for me, it's just fun to watch it all play out. And if we're being honest, our politics are a shit show. That's just what it is. So I'm sorry if I don't get riled up like everybody else does every time something different happens. I'm kind of used to seeing it happen. And I think it's funny that people always bring up the fact that I voted for Donald Trump, because I voted for Donald Trump one time. That's what happened. I voted for him one time. I used my one vote to vote for Donald Trump one time. Nobody ever mentions the fact that I voted for Obama twice. I voted for Al Gore. I'm glad nobody mentions the Al Gore thing, because that's kind of embarrassing, and especially the lengths I went to vote for Al Gore. One day I'll tell you the full story and we'll go into that. But nobody ever brings that stuff up. Nobody ever brings up that me and Bruce Jingles started the "if you're not for Obama, then fuck yo mama" campaign. Nobody ever brings up that, which is a pretty strong campaign that we started on the University of Oregon, I think, campus was where we were performing. Anyway, that's where I'm at on this, ladies and gentlemen. You let me know down in the comments what you think. Do you think this is going to play out in Joe Biden's favor? What did you think of his reaction? Just let me know what you think about it. Again, if you want to talk about the fact that I voted for Donald Trump, that's probably not going to be the best route, because that's not something I'm here to defend. We all have a vote, and we use our votes the way that we want to use them, the way that we think is going to be the most beneficial to the country. I've said before that one day I'll go into it and talk about it more in detail, and one day I will give like a point by point. But I just haven't really felt like it, because to me it's such old news, and some people are still interested in it. And it's not like something I feel at all ashamed of or that I regret in any way. Personally, I think that I made the right decision for that time, and I still feel good about that decision. Am I willing to look into something that's a little less tumultuous? Most definitely. Am I looking for something that would probably, well, I don't know, because the go along to get along mentality isn't always the best in my opinion. So if everybody has to stay fighting so we can figure out a better way to work this situation, and so people can get outraged to the point where they actually do something about something instead of just talking about it. Because even now, the way people handle Donald Trump, it's like not the smartest way or the most logical way. And sometimes that's what I have a problem with, is people want me to run 100% on emotion, not on my own emotion, but on their emotions. And it's like, I really don't get worked up over your emotions that way. I just don't. My life has never worked that way. I've been an openly gay man for my entire adult life now, so I can't really say that this system has necessarily been working in my favor all along anyway. It's only within the last, 10 years, if that things have really started to be a little more inclusive of me. So before then, nobody was worried about my opinion, and now I've got all this pressure to vote a certain way and think a certain way, and I'm supposed to want to get married, and I'm supposed to want kids, which I do want a kid, but there's all these things that I'm supposed to want to do now when, like, for most of my life, I've flown under the radar and nobody's really paid attention to me like that. So, sorry if I don't live up to expectations that you decided to put on me in the last 10 years, but I don't really know how I'm supposed to make that adjustment anyway. Anyway, this has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.